Hi. Okay, trying it again. I am Katie Phillips, your host of When Artists Drink Cocktails. Sorry about that. I think there might have been some sort of tech glitch there, so it happens. But anyway, tonight we are talking with Brittany Zimmerman of Bleu Designs, and she is an interior designer. And it's going to be really cool to get her perspective on what she looks for whenever she is choosing art for a room. So I think she is here. Let me connect us. So yeah, she'll be jumping on soon. So yeah. And next week is spring break, so there won't be a live episode. So, but yeah, so Brittany's here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are
Good. I'm
you?
good. So sorry, I think I had some sort of tech glitch on my end before. There was like no one was
No
like I was
worries.
like, what's going on here?
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. So well, thank you for joining me tonight.
Yes, thanks for having me. I
Of
was
course.
hoping the weather would cooperate. We're supposed to have really bad thunderstorms,
Oh
but
no.
thankfully everything is rather quiet.
Oh good.
So
So are you drinking a cocktail tonight?
I am in the middle of packing for market
Okay.
and my hands are completely empty. I like dashed away from my suitcase to come in here and pop on with you.
Yeah.
But I am enjoying a brownie later. That's
Oh,
my
okay. You know
treat
what?
for for
That works too. That works
getting
too.
packed.
Yeah. So what? I'm just curious. What market is it?
So it's High Point Market in High
Okay.
Point, North Carolina. It's a design industry market. They
Okay.
have twice a year.
Oh,
So we
cool.
have one in the spring and one in the fall.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, this is my first year, second year in interior design, and my first year going to market.
Oh, very cool. So, well, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about how you got started with interior design.
Sure. So I have to say it's never a straight road to your final calling.
Right. Oh, yeah,
Um,
I know.
I majored in event management, and
Uh-huh.
so for 8 years I did event design and event management. Worked with like national sports teams and golf tournaments, and I just always loved like the pretty design aspect of it. I
Hmm.
love processes and I love like coordinating things. But yeah, it was always just like I was after the pretty. And then I like jumped over into education for 7 years, and I would use my summer and spring break and winter break to design, like just in my spare time, whether it was my own place or for friends or family. And at the time, I was just kind of like just doing some classes here and there, whatever I could get my hands on
Hmm.
to learn more. And when school went virtual in March of 2020, I had a lot of time on my hands.
Oh, yeah.
So I pretty much just had my business plan written up the year before, and my husband was like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Just make the
So
leap.
yeah, so we
Yeah.
made the leap, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
It really has. I'm kind of a lifelong learner, and
Hmm.
that I'm always trying, I'm always taking a master class or doing, on-site learning or learning from a mentor. Um, so only in my second year of business, but I feel like
Hmm.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, yeah. Well, so tell me a little bit about like how would you describe your style and like what influences your designs?
Sure. So I have to say, as far as what influences my designs, it's all of the usual suspects.
Hmm.
Architecture, art, um, travel, fashion,
Yeah.
all of the pretty things that
Yeah.
everybody likes. But yeah, that's kind of on a trip to Paris is when I kind of really got the idea for Blue Bee.
Hmm.
And I knew that, that was my calling.
Yeah.
Um, so our style is traditional.
Hmm.
I love a good antique piece, but I also understand the need for modern day
Hmm.
furnishings. But there's a lot to be said about the character and a lot of times even the quality of an antique piece. And it just adds a really neat, layered and thoughtful look to your home.
Yeah.
So I would say, fresh, traditional,
Hmm.
layer in some antiques, some original art, of
Yeah.
course, which is so often our starting point for a project,
Yeah.
and fun fabrics. I
Yeah.
love custom upholstery
Oh
projects.
yeah. Yeah, and like I know, and you offer I think on your website I saw you do like e-design, so like you can basically help anybody anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, I just signed on a client. This will be the sixth state that I've worked in.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty neat. It's like from here all the way across the country,
Uh-huh.
being able to work with people in design.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Well, I
Yeah.
am so glad you're here tonight because, it's like I have, like when I'm like talking with someone like in an art festival and I can see them like pulling towards a specific piece, like a painting, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it, but I just don't know if it's going to match or whatever. I always say, you know what, if you love it, you can find a way to make it work. But I know it's not
Yep.
always that simple. So I think so. I would just love to hear like a designer's perspective on it,
Sure.
so yeah, like so. Tell us like what's your first tip for us?
Okay, so I think first tip is going to be listen to the architecture of the space. Whether you're designing for just one room or an entire home, I love to let art play off the architecture. So say we've got a beautiful arched doorway. Let that be what visually frames the piece that's going in the adjacent room.
Oh yeah, so it's like a tunnel sort of.
Exactly,
Oh
and
yeah.
it visually pulls you into the next room. Sometimes you've got an older home with like a curved foyer. And I think, you can find art whose lines mimic that curvature. I purposely love the kind of like, wait, did they hang that there? Hanging art on like a trim piece of millwork on a built-in bookcase. But I think it's really important to, like I said, to listen to the architecture. And sometimes you just need to know when you don't need to add anything else because architecture in and of itself is art.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Don't want to distract from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times if it's gorgeous architecture, keep your art super minimalist. So
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, so like what about like scenarios where you have a room that's got like lots of colors and patterns going on? Like what would you do for those types of situations?
so it depends. If you are a maximalist, I say go all out. If you've got a room rich in fabric colors and patterns and you want to add a huge floral piece, go for it. If that's what lights you up inside, go for that.
Yeah.
But I also have to respect the design principle that the eye always needs a place to rest. So for instance, maybe you choose a colorful piece, but it's in a small scale, and then it's matted in white or just in a very neutral, subtle matting with not a busy frame. And I think another fun way to play off of it, and I saw this recently down at the Palm Beach, Kips Bay Palm Beach Show House, there was a gorgeous plaster relief piece, and it was all white in a really busy room, but just the dimensions was enough to make you realize, oh, that is a piece of art.
Yeah.
But because it was monochromatic, it didn't distract from the rest of the decor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good point. So let's see, what about art? I love it when I see art in like unexpected places. So like what are some things we can do, like little surprises we can do with art?
Yeah, so I love doing like a mural or maybe like just panels of wallpaper. Sometimes millwork I feel like can be, art in itself if you put it in a fun color. And then I really just love like free flowing art. So definitely something abstract. Just kind of make it go opposite of the room that it's in. And that kind of creates a good contrast.
Oh, okay. All right. Very cool. And let's see. Let me find my notes here. I had so many questions. Let's see. So whenever we think about, art, we always think about, a painting on a wall. Well, there's all types of art. So like, what about like a sculpture, or, a functional piece of art? Like, how would you incorporate that into a room?
Yeah, so I feel like sometimes, and I think it happens a lot in areas where you've got an expanse of windows, you've got a beautiful like nature setting outside, whether it's coastal marshland or the beach, or even just a forest in your backyard. But it's kind of nice to let the art then be a functional piece in the room. So whether that is a chandelier crafted from oyster shells, or some woven sweetgrass baskets or tobacco baskets hung on a wall, could be pressed botanicals, or a hand carved really ornate mirror. I think that's just a unique way to not detract from what's outside as your view, but to bring an element, of nature into your home as well, but also to make it functional.
Yes.
I was in an antique store a couple weeks ago, and there was a light fixture. It literally stopped me in my tracks, and they are these twisted tree roots. I mean, and they're big, and it was just like a snail spiral, basically, with a light fixture inside of it. And I thought, oh my goodness, I need to find somebody's home that I can put that in.
Mine.
Right? So sometimes all a room really needs is just a basic artistic element, to be the only art in a space.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, and I do like that idea of like bringing the outdoors in, especially if you're already living in a beautiful area.
Yeah, and I think we see a lot of that here. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, so we've got the beach, we've got the marsh, we've got a lot of just really diverse, beautiful water property here.
Yes, yeah, well, very cool. Well, you have given us a lot of stuff to think about. And and I will be recording, like I've recorded this and I'll be posting it so that if anyone missed our conversation tonight, they can easily rewatch it.
Yes, get out of time and take notes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so and I'm going to finally catch up on my blog this weekend. So I'm so far behind. So
I am too. I'm not a blogger, but I'm trying to be.
I'm doing like a spring break next week. I mean, I'm not going anywhere, but it'll be spring break on
catch up.
Cocktails, and so it'll be just re-show. There won't be a live next week, but we'll just be replaying, and catching everybody up on the blog.
Great, awesome.
Well, okay. Well, so I always end with this question. If you probably know it's coming.
Yes, and I've been mulling over it.
Okay, so if you could invite anyone over from history who's ever lived in the past or currently living now, if you could invite them over for a cocktail, who would you invite?
I would have to say I would probably invite Dorothy Draper. The Greenbrier Hotel, that's kind of her claim to fame. I feel like any of the women who kind of first got into decorating, before it became involved with architecture and before men got involved, just trailblazing women, who thought that, I need to just not just live here. It needs to be beautiful. And that is reason enough to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, Jeanette Peterson says, ooh, that's a good one.
Aw, thanks, Jeanette. So, that would be my person.
Okay, yeah, I like it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're busy packing for High Point, so I will let you get back to that. But thank you again, Brittany, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Katie. I appreciate it. And
no problem.
And just to let everybody know, check my stories this weekend. There will be lots of adventures happening around High Point, so I'm excited to come back with new trends, new industry information, lots of learning.
Okay, yes, okay. I will definitely be checking that out. So
awesome.
I'll be living vicariously through your stories.
All right. Thanks so much, Katie. Have a great night.
Thank you. All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.